broadcasting live out of a basement in Appleton, Wisconsin. You're tuned into Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. We're the show that gives you an opportunity to call in and be a part of the show. Our call-in line is 920-358-0795. Core. Hello everybody, welcome to Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. If this is your first time checking us out, WCZR is an independent streaming rock station based out of Appleton, Wisconsin. Jeremiah James Band is an indie rock band based out of the Fox Cities. They are a 2024 WAMI finalist and fresh off an appearance at Mile of Music. I'd like to welcome Jeremiah and Emily from Jeremiah James Band to Fox Cities Core. How are you guys doing today?
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for doing this. So an exciting week for you guys. Mile of Music. This was your first performance at the Mile. How did that go?
It's epic.
Yeah, it was really an awesome experience. We played on a Sunday afternoon, so I was a little worried that, we wouldn't have a crowd because it was so early in the day. We were the first band at the club we played at, and it was just everything everybody said. It was a packed house audience. It was totally engaged. It was a beautiful time.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but did you guys play in Ohio the day before?
We sure did.
Jeez. So you're in Ohio. You drove back, and you had an early show Sunday at Mile of Music.
Correct.
You were either not staying at the festival or the show you played in Ohio till the very end, or you just put the pedal to the metal and came back as fast as you could.
Pretty much.
Did you get any sleep?
A little sleep, yeah.
4 hours, I think.
Well, tell me a little bit about the festival in Ohio.
It was called Jam by the Sand. It's in Fairport, Ohio, so it's right on Lake Erie. Pretty beautiful little community festival. They're all into jam music, and they just reached out to us out of the blue, which was really nice, and asked us to be a part of their event, so it was pretty cool. Went down there, and it was just a nice venue right on the water. The weather was a little crazy. It rained right until we played, and then the sun came out, and then it turned totally nice for the rest of the day, so it was really good.
Do you like playing out of state shows like that?
Definitely, to see, the different reactions we get.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a new thing for us. We don't, we've never played in Ohio. That was the first time we've done that. And we've only ever played in Illinois and Upper Michigan. Like once. So.
Was that booked before Mile of Music, or did Mile call after that was booked?
That was booked first before Mile.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we booked that in February.
Something like that, pretty
a long time ago.
So you had the choice then, well, do we say no to Mile, or do we get down there and play our first Mile? And obviously you got it done.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah. There was no way we weren't going to turn Mile down, that's for sure. It would be a chance to have a real rock star weekend.
Yeah.
Well, so you said Mile went well. I mean, it must have been cool to see yourself in the program and on the app. Did you get a chance to really see much of Mile since you were in Ohio for a chunk of it?
Not this year. We've been to it before, and checked it out for sure. But this year, because we were gone pretty much the whole time because of that Ohio show. But of course, the day we played, being the first band, it was nice. We got to hang out the rest of the night and go see a bunch of our friends. And so that was really a good time. And it was just such a well-run event. It was definitely a blessing to be a part of it.
Did you take advantage of any of the free food or any of the amenities that comes with Mile of Music?
No. we didn't
have a whole lot of time, mostly just because of, I don't know, just kind of how it all worked out.
Well, we're going to talk about obviously the Jeremiah James Band. But first, I want to find out a little bit about your musical backgrounds.
Sure.
And I know, Emily, you're like an instrumentalist on a ton of stuff. Jeremiah, you've been playing guitar forever. Mm-hmm. Maybe, I don't know who wants to start first, but let's hear how you got into music.
You can go ahead. Go first.
All right. I got into music pretty young because my dad was a guitar player, and that's really what inspired me to want to play. So I started pretty young, around 9, learning songs, but I wasn't serious. It was more of just a hobby kind of thing. And then I got to see the Grateful Dead when I was 12 with my parents, and all the love at that event is really what inspired me to become a musician. I wanted to make people happy like what was happening there. So I just dove in from there, and I played with my dad for his whole life until he couldn't play music anymore. And then when he passed away, I started the band with Emily shortly after that.
What was the name of your dad's band?
Our band was called Broken Arrow. We played all over Wisconsin. It was all original music as well. And we still play some of those tunes I wrote with him.
Are you taught from your dad then? He's the one that taught you guitar, or did you take lessons?
I'm pretty much self-taught. My dad taught me a few chords and then was like, figure it out on your own kind of thing. Just, you know, because when you're put in those situations, you definitely you figure it out, you know, kind of stuff. But I learned from a Grateful Dead song book I had. I learned all the songs in that, figured out how to read tab, did it all on my own pretty much, but all self-taught. And then it wasn't until later in life with the internet and stuff I started taking lessons, because you can buy lessons online and whatnot, and YouTube. I do that all the time still. Constantly learning.
And Emily, you're playing a ton of different instruments. You must have started early as well.
I started at school, like in my elementary school. My best friend at the time was going to join orchestra. And so, of course, naturally, I was going to join orchestra, too. And I remember bringing home, like, the slip of paper saying I wanted to play violin. My mom and dad both laughed at me. They were like, yeah, right, you are not going to play violin. And I was like, no, I really want to do it. So they were like, okay. And my dad was like, you're going to play 45 minutes every day. Like, you're going to practice. So you're not going to be one of those kids where it sits in the case. And so that's kind of how it all started. And then like a year after that, I started playing saxophone, and then just kind of went on from there. I went to Lawrence for saxophone and music ed, and
so you got a real formal education on music.
I'm trained. Yeah, like I got like the formal training on saxophone. It was awesome. I don't know.
Before this band, you were in other bands, weren't you?
Yeah, I played with Boogie and the Yo-Yos for a little while. It was like 6 months. It wasn't very long.
How was the show schedule for that?
It was busy. But I mean, like we were play just as much as, you know, like not obviously the same kind of events that Boogie does, but we're just as busy as they are. But yeah.
Well, for the listeners out there, you two ended up, well, you're married, but where did you meet? Eventually you merged and combined forces.
Yep.
We met at Cranky Pat's Pizza in Neenah. We were hired for like this like open house jam band called Jam Funk All Stars. And yeah, we just both showed up and it just kind of worked.
Took off from there.
I don't know.
Yeah, we met through that band, and instantly there was a connection between us musically right away. And I was in a cover band called Mad Cat's Band that we still play with once in a while. And I hired her to come to that band, and then from there it just grew real quick. We quickly discovered that we had some chemistry musically, and we could write songs together, and it just pretty much took off from there.
So that was the official start of the Jeremiah James Band?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then as a band stands today, is it a solid group of the same people, or is it the two of you and then a rotating cast of musicians?
It's the two of us with a rotating cast of players. We have like a set group of guys that we use the most, and then we know so many players all over the valley. If none of those guys are available, we reach out to anyone else who's free, kind of thing. But yeah, we have Rod Reynolds on bass, Brian Hare on drums, Ryan Thomas on drums, Andrew Wilson on bass.
Aaron Brenton also plays bass with us.
Those are like our core guys that play with us the most. And then from there, it's pretty much anyone who's available that's willing to play with us. We did start with a core group of people, but it quickly changed, you know, because early the project was more just like a fun project for us to have something new to do, you know.
Yeah.
But we had a drummer, Bill Robinson, for about a year. But then he wanted to go off into other stuff because he's definitely more into heavy metal and wanted to tickle his fancy with that, which he is so good at doing. And then, so then we just kind of gone through different players over the years, and then we got to a point where like, why don't we just keep doing this? Because it's so nice. We get to meet new people, and it just creates a bigger web,
Does that throw off the dynamics of the band, though, as far as consistency goes each show? Because you might click with somebody and maybe you're initiating somebody else. Does it kind of throw the balance off?
No, it's just different. Having a rotation of people just keeps the music fresh. It's not the same every single time you hear it. It's close, but it's not quite the same.
Could you rank the members in order of how you like them from
No, they're all awesome.
Yeah,
they're all awesome.
They all bring their own flavor to the music, which is really nice because just like she was saying, when someone different is in the rotation than what we're used to, because sometimes we'll do like 5-6 shows with the same 2 guys, and then suddenly we'll do a couple shows with different people every show, and it keeps us on our toes, and it just keeps the music fresh, and a lot of our fans make comments about how they enjoy the fact that there's that freshness there with different people involved. But everyone, brings their own flavor to the music, which is really nice.
When you play a lot of shows, you've kind of hit the big ones this year. You did Paperfest. Did you do the Fox Cities Experience? I believe you did. Yep. And also, of course, Mile of Music. Who's doing your booking?
It's all me. Yeah, I do it all. Not everything now. The last 2 years we've done some stuff with Bananas, but that's more clubs that they put us in. But yeah, I've pretty much done the bulk work of the booking the whole time.
How was it to do something like Mile of Music where it was a 45, 50-minute set versus what you're probably playing, which is multiple hours? Does it allow you to sort of play the hits and...
Kind of, that's pretty much it. It's definitely different because we're used to having some time to stretch out at some point in the show and do a little more improvisation and whatnot. But it was neat experience. It just wasn't long enough. You're done and it's like over and you want to keep playing. You're just starting to get warmed up.
Makes it hard to choose what songs you want to play.
Yeah, we had a lot of debate about the set list for this show.
Well, some of your songs too. So your bio describes you as an indie rock band, but I hear so many other influences in there. There is a little jam in there. Oh, yeah. And, Jeremiah Jam's band. There's also there's funk in there. There's rock. There is rock in there, but it's just a mix of everything. So as far as like people showing up to your shows, do you feel that they're pigeonholing the band because of Jeremiah Jams is a jam band before they even hear you guys play a note?
I think that does happen a little bit because we aren't as jammy as you would think, because people think we're just a jam band, but I don't really qualify us as that because most of our tunes are written out completely. Like even the solos, they sound jammy, but it's just we love that kind of music, so we write it to sound that way. And then we only have like 2 or 3 songs where we really do sections of true improvisation, So sometimes people are surprised because, we definitely have a tight ship that we run. But we, like you say, we go through a lot of different styles. There's jazz, there's bluegrass, there's blues, jam, and a little bit of everything,
Does that make it hard to find other bands to play with?
I don't know about that. To me, I feel like it almost opens the door because we play so many styles, we could fit with a lot of different shows, is the way I view it anyways.
Yeah.
Well, as far as the festivals in the area that you did 3 big ones that I know of, could be more. How were those different from each other?
That's a good question.
I don't know. They were all fun.
Yeah, they were definitely all fun for sure. I think Mile is like, you can tell that's a national event. There's definitely a lot of support, and thought into it, and because there's a lot of eyes on it, and of course there's probably a little more money behind it kind of thing, and you could just tell, that there's a lot of support and all that there. The other events are more community events, and they're both run extremely well, but definitely have more of a community vibe, versus Mile has that big festival feel. It feels like you're at a big show. So that would be the big difference I would see with them.
Any opinion on the new location this year for the Fox Cities experience versus the Kaukauna experience or Electric City experience? I already forgot the old name of it.
Right.
I mean, we liked both locations. I think both of them are great. I liked the location they chose this year. It was cool to play so close to the water.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I felt like everyone was grouped closer together, which was kind of nice. It kept everyone in the same spot more.
Didn't have to cross the street for the carnival rides.
Right. Exactly, and it just seemed like more people were at the shows that were happening because they didn't have to walk so far to get to the other stages. So I definitely liked the new venue for sure.
When you guys are playing shows like that, do you make time to go out and see other bands, or to stay in the zone? Do you just get there a little bit before you're going to play and then pack up and haul out of there?
We usually go and listen to other bands after we're done playing.
Yeah, after we're done. Yep.
Very much in the zone before we play, and then after is the fun time.
Right. Yeah, because before the show, we always are, listening to our music, getting ready for the show, getting in that pumped state of mind to play. And then if we're not playing another show, we definitely go check out other bands. That's the only thing that prevents us from doing it, is having another show to go to, which does happen a few times. We've had double headers this year where we've had to, just like that Ohio gig, like as soon as we were done, we had to pack up and leave and get back up here.
What time did you get back to the Appleton area?
I think it was 1 in the morning, 1:30, something like that. Yeah.
Totally worth it, though, right?
Oh, it was totally worth it. It was so much fun.
Do it again tomorrow if you told us.
In a heartbeat.
Well, who's writing the set lists for your shows? Do you even use set lists?
I primarily write the set lists. Yep.
Jeremiah, do you have veto power if you don't like something, or do you just roll with whatever she puts in front of you?
Right, yeah. Usually I just go with it, but she always has me review the set list to make sure there's nothing where I'm like, oh, I'm not ready for that or whatever kind of thing. But yeah.
Also want to make sure I'm not writing the same songs in every set list, because we do have a lot of songs. So
yeah, we try and keep it rotated, so we're going through all our material, because we have quite 4 hours, 5 hours of original songs, so we try and keep everything in rotation so we're not forgetting to play them,
Do you have all those recorded at this point? Because I don't think you've got one full album and then some singles online, so you must be sitting on a ton of material.
We have 2 full albums online. So our second album and our first album is out. And then we just released a single on July 19th. So that's the start of album 3. But we do have a lot of unrecorded material, for sure.
So what was your first release?
Our first release was This Fire.
That was 2019. So
yep.
The band, as far as the official start date, was it that same year? Was it prior to that?
We started, 2016?
2016.
Yep.
Which can be misleading again, since you guys have been in the scene for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So This Fire was the first album. You had a single called Just Jam Please.
Yep.
And then, of course, you've got a new single that's been just released called Be True to Yourself.
Correct.
Are you self-recording these, or are you going into a studio to record these?
We go to Rock Garden Studios, work with Marc Golde. We've done all of our stuff there, actually.
So it's your comfort zone at this point.
For sure.
Yep.
For sure.
And does Marc give you suggestions ever?
Oh, definitely. Marc is great to work with. For sure. He pretty much just lets us do our thing, unless we're going off the tracks kind of thing. But I've known Marc a really long time. I played my first live show with his band when I was really young. So we've had a connection for a long time, and I just
don't even tell me, was it the Electric Bananas?
It was the Electric Bananas. Yeah.
So that was with Tom Thiel as well.
Yep,
yeah,
correct.
Cool.
Yeah, I was 12 years old, and I sat in on acoustic guitar, and I cut my finger open trying to keep up with the guys. And when the song was done, Marc's like, "Look at this! This guy played through the blood and the pain or something." Crowd went nuts. I was like, "Yeah, I'm doing this the rest of my life."
So would that have been at the Thirsty Whale?
Correct.
What is now okay?
The Cold Shot.
That was sort of their home base back in the day.
Sure was, and that's actually where we played our very first gig as well. Was at the Cold Shot. So
a full circle.
Full
moment.
circle, yeah, yeah.
So if you had to name a home club now, would it be where you met at Cranky Pat's? Or is there a place that you play more often and feel more is a home base?
Oh man.
Yeah,
I feel like if we were to name a home base, it would have to be Fletch's.
Yeah, Fletch's
probably in
and
Oshkosh.
Fletch's.
Yep.
We've played there the most probably of the local clubs.
Yep.
They've been nice. They let us in real early when we first started out, like really our first year, and they keep having us back, and it's just been a beautiful relationship with them. And the town of Oshkosh, like we get a lot of support there for sure.
How do you feel about the echo in Fletch's? How do you deal with that?
We don't do too bad there because we use a Bose sound system, and we don't run everything through the system. We just put the vocals through the system and maybe Emily's violin or saxophone kind of thing. And then the guitar and bass, we just use the sound of the amps. We don't even mic them because there's just so much, like you said, it just doesn't take much to fill that place full of sound, you know. So for us, it's a pretty good room.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool place, and I think they're attached to the varsity room, which is another great place. You can kind of go in between when you're seeing a show there.
And you get some food too, so it's a good
yeah, food's really good too. So Fletch's is home base, and do you find yourself playing around Appleton ever? You mentioned the Cold Shot. Have you played Appleton Beer Factory yet?
Yep, we've played Appleton Beer Factory a few times. We opened for National Touring Act Baked Shrimp last November there. Shrimp. Yeah. So that was nice for us because we've known those guys via Instagram for many years and seen them come up through the scene. So it was really cool when they came through our area and we were able to be a part of it.
Is there anywhere in this area you haven't played yet that you want to check off your bucket list?
Well, that's a good question.
Fox River House. We were supposed to play there like at the end of June, and we got rained out again.
Yeah, the rain this year.
So I would have to say there.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another beautiful venue. I mean, we're lucky in this area to have so many cool places to play.
Definitely.
Fox River House. So you're looking at Fox River House is watching anybody from there.
Yeah.
if anything opens up. We were talking before the show how it seems like the summer season is almost like, not to be the henny penny, but it's kind of wrapping up, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, it sure is.
Are you finding that you didn't get to go to a lot of things that you wished or maybe thought you were going to go to this year?
No.
The summer turned out exactly the way I think we thought it was going to be. Yeah. So I don't know. We made the most out of every event we were able to be a part of. So I think that made up for things we probably didn't get to do that maybe we wanted to do.
We're playing a lot of shows, so that's what we want to do all the time.
You guys have done so much. You performed at the BAMMYs, the first ever Bay Area Music Awards. Yep. Can you tell me about that experience? That
was really fun. It was at the Tarleton Theater, and I believe it was sold out, if I remember. It was just really full. There was a lot of people. We were asked to play because our song Inside Groove Out was made it to the finals. So we got to play that, and it was cool. Like
the finals of what?
Of the BAMMYs.
The BAMMYs.
Oh, the BAMMYs. So there was a. Oh, it was like it was nominated for.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So that's the song we played, and it was cool. It was like we were towards the end, so we just kind of waited and walked up and just played, and it was done. That song's like 4 minutes long, so it was like all this like anticipation for 4 minutes.
But
it was awesome.
How was the nervousness of being up there playing and seeing Tom Smith and Jim Runge and all these people in the crowd, Frank, and just people that really made the Green Bay scene, and here they are watching you guys.
Oh, definitely.
Well, the beauty of stage lights is you can't ever see people's faces very well, so you just like see silhouettes, so you don't really know who's who. So you're just like, okay.
Did you guys end up winning the nomination?
Nope. Nope.
No.
Well, it's being nominated. It's pretty huge.
Oh, it's
for sure. I mean, there's so much music and so many musicians. It's just cool to be like in that group, so.
It was a blessing to be a part of it, for sure.
I want to quickly say, too, what a great job Tarl Knight's doing up there with just the Tarleton and at the tracks and the BAMMYs. He's in All Bands on Deck. Mm-hmm. You guys are going to be playing that. Can we say that already? I guess I already did. So
we definitely can.
Cat's out of the bag now.
So have you played that before?
Yep. I think we've played every one they've had from the beginning. So
Appleton needs more festivals so you guys can play something different around here. So
we're down for that.
Yeah.
And you were also nominated for a WAMI on top of the BAMMY. So this 2024 really has been a busy year for you guys.
Yeah, it's been great.
Did you attend the WAMIs?
We sure did. Yep. It was a lot of fun to go to that event. I got nominated the year prior for electric guitar as a solo, just by myself. But then this year the band got 3 nominations: Artist of the Year, Performer of the Year, and Rock Performer of the Year. So that was mind-blowing to begin with, because so much good talent in that, up for the awards in the state. And just to go there and be amongst all those people and our peers, it was a good feeling, because I've looked up to a lot of those people my whole life, so it was definitely fun to be involved with.
Mm-hmm. And you hear a lot of people that end up getting nominated, they don't win, and then they get like a kind of a negative opinion about everything. Mm-hmm. You guys just felt blessed to be nominated.
Totally. Mm-hmm. Totally. I just, for us, I don't know how you feel any other way.
Yeah.
It's just a blessing to be even recognized. There's just there's so much talent in this state and so many good players, and I definitely feel honored to be involved.
So tell me a little bit about your latest single, Be True to Yourself. Mm-hmm. That was recorded at Rock Garden.
Sure was.
Like everything else. Tell me how that song came to be. What's it about?
I actually wrote that song when I was 15, and I was going through a lot in my life. My youth was a little difficult for me, well, any teenager, and his typical teenage feelings. But the song, I always write tunes to start out dealing with whatever issue the base of the song is, and try and end with a positive outcome on the other side of the story. And that's totally what this song is about. It's about feeling that life is just, full of pain and suffering and like get me out of here kind of stuff. And it talks about how people hide behind that and they show a different identity to everyone else. They don't act like their true selves when they're out and about, because they're suppressing all that, And then the instrumental section comes, and to me it's like the healing part of it. And then you come out the other side and you talk about how you're grateful for life and how things are good because you're feeling like yourself and being yourself, So just always trying to be positive, is my trip.
When you're recording a song like that, are you doing it in one take? Do you prefer to have everybody in the main room?
We usually do, I think everything we've done has been a live take. We usually do it with like a click track. We do like 1 or 2 takes and then go listen to it and see if we like it.
Marc gets up and walks away and
Yep.
walks on outside and then comes back. Do you do any overdubs when you're recording?
Nope.
So pretty much all
straight live, because we want to give we don't want to set false expectations for what people see when they come see us, because it's kind of, we talked about doing like the full blown studio with all the orchestration, a lot of cool ideas, but I'm always a believer that I want to give people what they're going to see live, so that's what we have always strived for. Our second album was the only one we didn't do that way because of COVID. So me and Emily recorded the tracks with a click track, and then we sent the tracks to the drummer in New York, and he recorded his parts, then Marc remixed it, and then we would send it to the bass player and mix it all down. So that was a little different back then.
The whole album was
done.
That's how we did the whole album, was that way.
It sounds like really not a personable way to do it. Mm-hmm. That obviously was not a way that you wanted to do it, but because of COVID, did kind of suck some of the life out of that album?
I don't think so.
No, it sounds
surprisingly enough. I don't know. When we listened to once all the parts were mixed together, we listened to it a bunch of times. With that same thing in mind. Like, does this sound like we were all together when we did it? Because we didn't want it to sound like it was pieced together. And I don't know. I think we all did a pretty good job working together to make sure that it didn't sound like it was pieced together.
It really sounds like we're there live. And it's definitely a tribute to the musicians involved that could capture that feeling, and Marc in the studio too, giving it that vibe. But yeah, to this day we listen to it and it's like, wow, you never guess we weren't in the studio live doing this together.
Is it hard for you playing so many instruments, Emily, when you're recording a song, not to add more and more stuff? And more and more instruments, because maybe you're hearing something, but then it sounds like you guys are kind of thinking ahead about recreating it later.
Yeah, sometimes I do hear a lot of things that I would love to play them all at once, and I can't. So yeah, sometimes it's really hard to not add extra parts. A couple songs we have, Dancing in Your Soul is off the second album. That's one I've always heard this huge horn section on the horn parts that I play on that. Or Where's the Love Today? I always hear horn parts on that. And I don't know. It'd be really fun to do a song where I could play everything I hear. But yeah, sorry, long answer.
That's great. And when COVID started, were you sort of relieved at first, or what was your feeling right when that? I know it's kind of a taboo topic now because it was such a, not fun time. But what were your initial reactions, and did you start to think maybe this is never going to end as far as getting back out and playing?
When everything first shut down, we were a little antsy, but we had been so busy up to that point, and honestly it was kind of okay, we can finally sit and breathe for a second. And so I don't know, I mean, definitely by the time the world is ready to open up, we were ready to play. But I think when it started, we were okay with it. Yeah. Definitely it didn't stop us from playing. We used that time to write, most of the second album. Yep. And just kept growing as musicians, I guess. We just used the time to practice, which is sometimes really hard to do when you're playing a lot.
And we did live streams and stuff like that too. We pretty much just stayed focused on the music, and tried not to worry about how it would all play out kind of deal. But yeah, our single from the second album, Inside Groove Out, that was written during COVID, about COVID, because we were stuck inside, but we wanted to groove out still. That's where the whole concept came from. So a lot of good things came out of it. That whole second album did. Us working with the players from the second album, we had John Kimmock. He was huge in the Grateful Dead scene. His dad is Steve Kimmock, who's a big guitar player in that scene. Then we had Eric Jesus Combs from the band Lettuce reach out to us and want to work with us, and he wound up doing that Inside Groove Out with us. So there's a lot of neat things came out of that time period from us just keeping our nose to the grind and keep playing,
Was live streaming something new to you at that point?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely prefer real life performing over the live streaming for sure.
How did it go as far as figuring out the tech and then figuring out how can people tip or whatever? Was it was just a lot to take in it quickly.
I don't remember struggling with it too much.
We're pretty low tech. We just used our iPhone straight with the iPhone sound, and it worked pretty good just because it's just the two of us, at the time because of COVID and everything. So it worked out very well sound-wise. It wasn't too bad.
There's a song on the new album called Glue, which I found fascinating because a lot of your songs have changes. You mentioned some of the changes in the new single, but in Glue, there's a pretty substantial change. It perked my ears up right away. What when you're writing a song like that, what makes you think, well, let's take this in a totally different direction right in the middle?
I think that one really came about from Emily's violin playing.
We wrote that in the middle of a snowstorm.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny how that was written. He had just started working at home.
Yep.
And he was like playing a riff. And I'm like, you should record that and not forget that because it's kind of catchy. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah. So he recorded it. And then that night, it was like the snowstorm. And there's like a video of us. It might even still be on Instagram.
I think it's
all like warbly or whatever. And I'm like plucking the melody line. And that middle section came about because we were like, well, we have to have like something that's different. It can't stay all the same. And it just kind of turned into, we were like, well, what like, what could we do for like, we should add like a solo section. And it just kind of, I don't know.
Grew out of
came
that
out
concept,
of
yeah.
Whatever we were doing, so I don't know.
Yeah, the great song. I would suggest if people haven't heard Jeremiah James Band, go listen to Glue.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
You also have a song about, and I didn't write the title of it down, about, I think it's the Fox River.
Yeah, it's called Fox River Blues.
That's it.
Yeah.
And you talk about catching a fish with 3 eyes.
Correct.
Is that a true story?
It is a true story. I lived on the Fox River when I was a kid in Menasha, and we lived right down the river from all the paper mills. And I used to sit out back with my dad all the time and fish and whatnot. And then one day all this blue, like electric blue foam started coming down the river. And so, I was fishing and I caught a fish out of the blue foam, for real, right out of the foam. And the fish had 2 eyes on one side and 1 on the other. So we kept the fish, caught the foam, sent them into the DNR. They told us it was safe and everything was fine. And then that was kind of the whole experience. And then years later, we got hired to do Good Day Wisconsin, Fox 11 or whatever. And we wrote the riff. And then I was like, and my dad's like, we need lyrics. And I'm like, well, why don't I write it about the catching that 3-eyed fish, And that's how it all started.
Did he throw the fish? No, he said he sent it into the DNR.
Yeah.
How were the 3 eyes? Were they next? Like,
Two were right next to each other like this, and then one over here, but one was like half eye. It was like weird, but it was an eye. Yeah, it was crazy.
That story just gives me the EBGBs.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know what's in the water, or
right?
What they're putting in the water. If there was a track that you would send people to, of course, I mentioned Glue. If there was a definitive Jeremiah James track that you would send people to, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Good question. I don't know. I think be true to yourself.
I was going to say
honestly.
That too, yeah.
It seems like most people like their latest release.
Right.
As far as be true to yourself, is that going to end up on a full album at some point, or are you guys... It is. So
it is. It's the first of 3 singles. We're going to release 3 singles for this album, and it's kind of cool. We partnered with Caleb Williams. He's a nationally known artist that's done stuff for like Billy Strings and Fish and all kinds of big bands. So he did the album art for us, and each single reveals a new part of the album art, and it's like a character that goes with each single. And then when the album comes out, it will be the full review of the album art with all the characters together, kind of thing.
So you're going to keep people engaged and coming back for more.
That's the idea, with art and music,
How far ahead are you booking your shows?
6 months we're out to a year. It all depends, somewhere in there. And it seems like every year I'm booking earlier and earlier out. It's like, it's crazy.
Are you booking right now to coincide with that 4-single release?
Correct. We're trying to book the end of fall, winter, into spring to do shows for, to support the release kind of thing.
Are you going to have an official CD release or album? Do you do CDs yet or albums?
We did CDs with our last disc, but we're not sure about this one. We'll see how it goes. I mean, we've sold out of them.
It's hard to find places to play CDs now.
Yeah, that's part of it. We've talked to a lot of fans, and it's like not many people listen to them anymore because you just stream everything,
It's getting embarrassing to even ask about CDs because it'll come out of my mouth, and then all of a sudden I feel like it's dated, with the CDs. You're going to put that on 8-track. It seems like we're almost to that point where it's
going to go back.
Yeah.
Well, what's your opinion on streaming?
It's beautiful because people can have easy access to music. I feel like it doesn't pay musicians near enough for what it takes to write a song. Some people, it's their whole life. It takes them to write that tune, and I just don't think the value is there like it should be. But beyond that, the medium is really nice, that people have easy access to music.
Is a vinyl something that you guys would like to do in the future?
Love to do vinyl. It's just expensive to get those vinyl copies made and all that. But yeah, definitely something I would love to do for sure.
Have you ever thought about crowdfunding it?
We like
we've really never talked about any of that. We've always just been the band that just like funds it ourselves somehow. I don't know. We always find a way to figure it out.
Yeah, we're just a couple of hardworking.
We don't have any opinions on any of
yeah.
that, but we've just, I don't know. Yeah.
How has marriage changed the band?
Not really at all. Yeah,
it's nice you guys have the same hobbies.
Right?
Oh, my goodness, it's definitely nice.
So every show is a date night?
Yep.
Pretty much.
Do people that have a weird reaction when they find out you guys are married?
No, most people know it right away because they can tell from our chemistry on stage. That's like one of the biggest comments and compliments we get is they can see the love and connection between us two. Because when we play, that's when it really lights up, and people make comments all the time. Oh, you guys have to be married or something, right? That's usually the first thing people say to us.
What made you name the band Jeremiah Jams Band?
Well, it came from my name, Jeremiah Jams, and I had already, at the time, before I started the band, I was doing like coffee house stuff for a few years, and I actually met Tarl Knight doing that stuff. That's how that relationship started, because he's an excellent solo performer as well. But I used to do a lot of coffee house stuff, and I garnered some attention. I had a following online already, and I'm like, well, why don't we just name it Jeremiah Jams Band, and we can just take over the Facebook page we had already for it, and that's pretty much how it was done.
So you let Facebook charter the course of the future of the
and
band.
MySpace at the time, because it was still around and very popular, and I had lots of followers on there too, kind of thing. But it was really social media that dictated the name of the band. Interestingly
enough,
enough,
thought about it that way.
I never thought about it that way.
It's a good segue into this question as far as keeping up all the non-music stuff, like that social media stuff. Do you enjoy doing that? Do you enjoy coming up with content, or do you feel that gets in the way?
I love doing both work for sure, but there's time when it definitely seems like it gets in the way, because it's a part of the whole thing. You have to be active on social media, and you have to put out new content all the time. And so that, like times of summer, we're playing constantly all the time. It definitely messes with the flow a little bit, but it's a necessary evil, and I view it as just another art form. You get to do graphic art, video art, all kinds of stuff, and expose people to the music in other ways,
Have you guys made any music videos yet?
We've done some graphic artwork stuff that I've done, and that's pretty much what we've done for music videos. We made one for Inside Groove Out. We made one for Let It Go from the first album. And I made one for You Are the Sun from the first album as well. And it's all like digital animation.
I think there's one for Moonlight Star also.
Oh yeah, I did one for Moonlight Star as well from the second album.
It's all on a Facebook page or a YouTube page?
They're all on YouTube, and Facebook as well. Little clips of it anyways, kind of thing.
Do you guys remember the best compliment you've ever received after a show?
Well, that's a great question.
Actually, yes, and it happened probably in the last 8 months. We got done playing, and we were sitting at the bar after, and some guy came up and goes, "Did you play? Were those all originals?" That was the coolest compliment, I guess, for me, because it's cool when they can't tell the difference. It's
yep.
Sweet, that to me. It just is well, then we made it relatable enough,
Is it hard to fight the temptation to play covers?
No.
No.
Well, we do play some covers.
We do play covers.
We don't.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like, I don't know. You got to give the audience something that they like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you have to be able to read the audience, and that's what we do. We know you can sense when you're in a club and, they want to hear something that's more in their vein of music. You got to give them at least one or two of something that works for them, so their ears are open to hear what you have to play. Mm-hmm. And we've definitely noticed that, when you play something people are familiar with, they're way more welcoming of the new music they've never heard before.
So what is one of your go-to covers?
All depends on where we are. If you're in country land, it's definitely Johnny Cash or something of that vein. But we like doing 80s stuff. Grateful Dead is our most popular stuff that we play, because we love the Dead, and so and it's just become a part of culture now. Like, you play one of their tunes, and it seems like everyone knows it. So that's neat too.
So when you were growing up and listening to music, was it bands like the Grateful Dead that you were drawn to music from?
You want to go first?
Go ahead.
All right, I'll go first. Dead is definitely a huge band for me. I mean, my parents were hippies, and I was raised on like Frank Zappa, Jimi Hendrix, Grateful Dead, stuff like that, and I loved it all. Of course, when I got older, I started listening to my own music, like Metallica, Living Colour, different bands like that. Even like Dr. Dre and some of that stuff is a influence on me. But definitely the Grateful Dead are my favorite band. Just still to this day, I listen to their music more than anything else.
The only Grateful Dead tune I had ever heard up until I met Jeremiah at Cranky Pat's with Jam Funk All Stars was Touch of Grey.
Was that because of MTV?
Probably. I don't know. Right. I grew up listening to like mostly what was on the radio, a lot of country. My dad played bass in a cover band for years, so like did a lot of like, The Who and just really cheesy stuff. But yeah, I didn't discover the Dead or Fish or anything until I joined Jam Funk, and I can't say I listen to a lot of country anymore. It's mostly Dead and Fish and that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. Is there a band from the area that you play with more than others?
We're paired with Digstown a lot.
Digstown. I've never heard Digstown play. I've heard of them.
Yeah. I think that is the band we've been paired with more than anybody.
It's pretty neat because my very first rock band was with the guy who started that band, Chris Rich. So it's years later, it's come full circle, and we wind up playing together all the time. And we did a show at the Tarleton, a tribute to the Grateful Dead, actually. That was a beautiful show, sold out, great crowd, just awesome time. And we're like, yeah, we should do this more. And of course, summer came, we got crazy busy and never really got to work it out. And then we wound up playing like 3 shows together just because the shows put us together. So it was pretty neat. We had a good laugh about that at Mile Music because we were paired together at Mile Music too. So it was fun.
Did you get any video or pictures or anything at Mile during your performance?
Yep, we got some video. We put up a little clip in a story, and we have the full show. We're going to be releasing little clips of it here and there.
So besides the album coming up, anything else?
Yeah, just more new music, ton of shows.
Yeah.
We're doing some duo stuff now too. Me and Emily just playing as a duo where she plays just mandolin, which is a nice break for her.
Project.
Yeah. And then I play guitar. And that one's more of a covers based act. It's all like music we like a lot of ourselves. So it's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And then we do some tunes that don't really fit the full band vibe. That's some of our original stuff. So that's been really fun.
Yeah.
So that'll give you a whole nother outlet where you can book stuff when the other band members aren't available.
Yep.
Exactly. That's pretty much how it started.
Yeah.
So what was the name of this duo going to be?
We just keep it simple, Jams Duo.
So I noticed, so you've got the name Jams in there again. Hence probably why people think you're a jam band.
Right, yep.
But I noticed your Facebook page uses the word groove a lot, and groovy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So is that sort of the trademark word for the band?
Oh, definitely.
Comes from the catchphrase we use all the time, the groove is calling, will you join us? That actually was born the first year we had the band. I think we were actually playing a show at the Cold Shot, and he just was like writing a write-up for Facebook, and he came up with the groove is calling, will you join us? And it just stuck. And I don't know. A lot of people use the word groovy when they talk about us too.
Yeah.
So it just, I don't know, kind of just stuck.
But the groove is definitely what we're all about. You know, our music is totally groove-based. You know, we're not about trying to show off or impress people with crazy riffs or anything. It's all about good feeling and good groove, you know. And so I always call us groove rock. Like, people ask us what kind of music we play. I think that's an accurate description of our music. Because if you look it up, it's just it's like a melting pot of music all mixed together, all based around the groove.
So if somebody goes to see the Jeremiah Jams band, if they walk away with a smile on their face, you've done your job.
Right.
Yes.
That's what we're all about, is just fun, having a good time. You know, that's why we do the tie-dye thing. We always that's our little uniform that kind of grew out of the whole groove thing. You know, people calling us groovy, and we're like, why don't we do tie-dyes? Because they're fun and just fits the whole vibe so well.
People always mention like the 60s and 70s vibe we give off too.
Yep.
So the tie-dyes just kind of fit.
And people compare us to the Grateful Dead all the time, even when we don't play their music, that's the biggest compliment to me, is when we play straight originals and they're like, wow, you sound like the Grateful Dead. It's like, wow, that's awesome.
So you've been in the music scene for a while. Do you feel like things like Mile of Music have made original music more acceptable than, prior 2012, 2013?
Totally, it has definitely helped. Because back when I was a kid playing with my dad, original music, it was very difficult. People would leave because we weren't playing cover tunes, So I definitely paid my dues early on in my career, and I've seen it grow where when Miles started, that was really the start of it. It started opening people's eyes to original music and new music, and now there's all kinds of other bands playing original tunes in the area, and it's just very encouraging to see that growth happening.
Do you want to hear an idea that I've had for a while?
Sure.
A cover band, but you only cover local band songs.
I love that idea. That's a great idea.
I don't know if it would work, and I don't know if people would be into that, but I think it would be cool.
That would be really cool. I like that idea.
Where can people go to find out more?
You can find us on JeremiahJamsBand.com, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, pretty much every social media platform we're on there.